Supercross Live on supercrossonline.com. Kevin Barnett and Jim Holley from beautiful Minneapolis. Jim, we got to talk about the weather first. Normally 57 degrees and spring just getting started here in the Midwest, but this year, a little different story. Snowing last night, snowing yesterday. How do you think the weather is going to affect the teams who are pitting outside?
Well, it's going to be hard. I mean, you come into the stadium like this, it's nice and warm, and it's probably about 80 degrees with all the people in here, and you're sweating, you work up a good sweat, and then you got to go outside, and it's pretty cold out there. But it's nothing that they haven't dealt with before, and I'm talking about, back when we used to race here. Last time we were here was back in '08, so it's all right. They'll deal with it. It'll be fun.
All right, 2008 saw Josh Hill win in the 450 class and had Ryan Villopoto winning in the 250s. Coming into this week, Ryan Villopoto is on a hot streak, and I think every week we're just going to ask ourselves until it's over, what can stop Ryan Villopoto?
Well, and like we say each and every week, it's only Ryan Villopoto and bad starts. If he gets a bad start, he's just going to have to be patient and work up, and maybe he ends up with a fourth or whatever. But he can't afford at this point, this late in the game, he can't afford a 16th like he had at the opener. That'll diminish that 21-point lead that he has over Davey Millsaps, and right now he's got a 25-point lead over Dungey. So that's a complete race. So he just wants to try to keep building on that, but the other guys, they got to stop him. I mean, he's got 8 on the season, 5 in a row now, and we're coming into Minneapolis. He won here in '08 in the 250 class, so he knows the dirt.
Every week we talk about starts, and it really has been that for Davey Millsaps, he hasn't been able to get off to the starts, and Ryan Dungey is kind of back to that where he was earlier in this year where he's not getting starts. If you're one of those two guys, what have you worked on all week to make your starts better?
I don't even know if Ryan Dungey had time to even work on anything with, being here in Minnesota. This is his home track. I'm sure he had a lot of interviews to do, a lot of press, things like that. But, we saw a little bit of it a few races ago with, Ryan Dungey getting aggressive. I think he's got to get a little bit more aggressive, and, you got to get better starts. And how you get aggressive, maybe you're a little bit tentative going into that first turn. Maybe you got to start moving some guys out of your way to get up there.
All right, keep an eye on the hometown Dungey. And speaking of being aggressive, Blake Wharton last week was ultra aggressive, running in on Marvin Musquin. A little talk about how aggressive he was, but I went back and watched it. It looked clean, but aggressive.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I like aggressive racing. I think that, he showed Marvin Musquin and Will Hahn that he wanted to win one of these things. I mean, he's led them. Indianapolis threw it away the last lap. Wharton, by my account, should have a couple more wins. He's been in good positions. He wanted to win it last weekend, and he showed everybody that he's not going to back down. And he's still in the championship fight. He's sitting third in the points, even though he's a little ways out, but he's still in the hunt, and if something happens to Marvin Musquin and Will Hahn, they get together or something battling and go down, he can put himself right in leading this championship.
Marvin Musquin and Will Hahn will be battling. Will Hahn with an 8-point advantage. This, of course, the last race before we head off to the West Coast 250 class and then back for Vegas in just a few weeks' time. My question with Marvin Musquin and Will Hahn is, Marvin Musquin has experience winning championships over in Europe. Will Hahn, no experience winning championships. Is there an advantage for Marvin Musquin coming in these last couple of races?
Not really, because, and here's why. Because, Will Hahn's with the Geico Honda team. Mike LaRocco's over there. He's won championships. Kevin Windham's over there mentoring the guys, helping those guys out. He's won championships. So they're keeping them calm and cool. The main thing that, Will Hahn's going to try to do before this 2-week break is just try to finish ahead of Marvin. But Marvin's got to hope that maybe a guy like Tyler Bowers, who finished 4th last weekend, his career best, he's on the Monster Energy Pro Circuit right now, that maybe he can get in between him. If Marvin wins here and Will Hahn gets a third here, that's 5 points. That means it's only a 3-point deficit going into Las Vegas. And if you win there and Will gets second, hey, there's 3 points, you're tied. Now you go back to who's won more main events.
All right, lots to watch here in Minneapolis this week. Last one for the 250 East before we get back to 250 West, and Ryan Villopoto continues on that hot streak. Of course, we'll have practice coverage for you 2 to 5 local time here. That's Midwest time. AMSOIL podium interviews with Jim. We'll have some rider interviews later in the day, and then a night wrap-up. Going to be a great day of racing in the snow in Minneapolis.